Hey, fourth graders, this is Miss Wieland, and we're on Chapter 10, Lesson 7, Comparing Decimals. But first, I want to take you back in time, so put on your time suits and journey back with me to a land far, far away, September 2019, Pinecrest Elementary. And we were comparing numbers by place value. Remember that? So let's go back and think about that for a minute. So we have our symbols, less than, is greater than, or is equal to. Okay? And how do we compare these? What we're going to do is start at the greatest place. So the greatest place for these two numbers is the 10,000s place, right? They both have a number in the 10,000s. But that's hard to compare. They're the same. So we're going to have to go look to the next lowest place. So one right over is the thousands place. Now we found one where they're different, we can start comparing. 5 and 8. 8 is greater, so 45,527 is less than 48,873. We can check our work on a timeline. Okay, so the 45,526 is right here. 45,526, and the 48,873 is here, right? And this one, because it is more to the right on a number line, is greater. Okay, let's do one more. So we're going to look at the greatest place value, 10,000s, but they're the same. So we go to the next one, to the thousands place. They're the same. We go to the next one, and that's where we find something different. In the hundreds place, this number has a 7 and this number has a 5. So this number is greater. 31,748 is greater than 31,521. And we can check our work on a number line. Right here, this guy. 31,521. And this guy, 31,748. This one, more to the right on a number line, so it's greater. And that's what we chose up here. This one is greater. Cool, we're good. If you go all the way through, can you say? Check out this guy. In the thousands, they have the same number. In the hundreds, they have the same number. In the tens, they have the same number. And in the ones, they have the same number. So if it's the same everywhere, of course, they are equal. Okay? We have is less than, it looks more like an L. Is greater than, is equal to. All right, let's go back to the present. And I have some decimals for you. These decimals, let's figure out what they are first. Okay? Let's count our full tenths. Right here we have 1 full tenth, 2 full tenths, 3 full tenths. So we'll make sure we put a 3 in the tenths place, and extra hundredths we have 2. Okay, here we have 1 full tenth, 2 full tenths, 3 full tenths, and 4 full tenths. So we'll put a 4 in the tenths, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra hundredths. So we have 32 hundredths, there's also 32 individual squares, and 46 hundredths. Just looking at this, can you tell which one has a greater shaded part? Which one has more blue? You should be able to tell that this one is bigger, right? But let's check the way that we did before. We start with the greatest place. Right here, we have stuff in the ones. It's a 0 and a 0, but we have stuff there, sorry. So we go to the next place, a 4 and a 3. Which one is greater? The 4, of course. So this one is bigger, so we could write it as 32 hundredths. There's a circle to fill it in. 46 hundredths. 32 hundredths is less than 46 hundredths. Yeah? Okay, let's look at another one. This one I think might trip you guys up if you're not being careful, so make sure you're watching this one. All right. It looks not deceiving right now, but let's go into it. So how many full tenths do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 tenths. Okay. And this one, do I have any full tenths? Nope. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. I have seen fourth graders in the past say, oh, they both have a 5, they're the same. But we can see that they're definitely not, right? So what we're going to have to do is make sure that we're comparing by place value. So 0 and 0 in the ones place. Same, move next door. 0 and 5. Which one is bigger? The 5, right? Because we can think of this as 5 tenths, but it's also 50 hundredths, right? There are 50 teeny tiny squares filled in there. You don't have to count. I'll let you know that. This one, we only have 5. 50 or 5, which one's bigger? 50, of course, because we have a 5 in the tenths and a 0 in the tenths. So, and 0. Okay, so here, 50 hundredths is greater than 5 hundredths, or 5 tenths is greater than 5 hundredths. You with me? Okay. And let's do a couple more problems, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a timeline like we did with the larger numbers. So at recess, Austin and his friends decided to have 2 races. One was, here's a number coming up, 2/10 of a mile, and the other one was 4/10 of a mile. Okay? Which race was longer? So let's make a number line. I'm going to start at 0 because I know that a race has to be bigger than 0 miles, right? If I have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, and 6/10. Okay. My 2/10 is right here. My 4/10 is right here. And we look to see which one is more to the right, which one is bigger, which one's greater, would be that 4/10. So we can fill this in up here, saying 2/10 is less than 4/10, because this guy always says is less than. Okay, and if we write it this way, it always says is greater than, no matter what numbers we put there. If we left this like that, we could still say 2/10 is greater than 4/10. But is 2/10 greater than 4/10? Nope. It's not. Okay, the symbol tells us what to say. Okay, so the other way to do that is using your place value chart. We have our ones, tenths, and we put a decimal between the ones and the tenths. So our numbers were 2/10 and 4/10. You check your biggest place value. The greatest place that they have digits is in the ones, right? We don't have anything in the hundreds or the tens or the millions, the ones. We have the same number there, so we move over. We have 2/10 and 4/10. So which one's bigger? 4/10 is greater. All right. So that was the same problem 2 different ways, using a place value chart and using a number line. Let's try a couple practice problems. Let me move my book a little bit. Okay, I am going to write down maybe 3 or 4 different ones, and then after I'm done, I'll let you know, and then I'm gonna have you pause it, see if you can solve them, and then you can unpause your video and check. let's do those in a different color. All right, pause your video and go and try and solve those on your own. Okay, now that you have solved them, let's talk about them. So I'm just going to do our place value method instead of drawing out number lines for these, but it is totally okay if you guys choose to draw number lines. In our largest place, we have 0 and 0. They're the same, so we move next door. 2 and 6, which one is greater? Our 6. So 2/10 is less than 6/10. Okay, here, our greatest place is the 1s, and they have 0s and 0s. Same, so we move over. 6 and 6. Same, let's move over. Uh-oh. 0 and nothing. Well, 0 kind of is nothing, right? Because we know that 6/10 is the same as 60/100. I could just fill it in with a placeholder there. Backfill it. Then what? They are equal. Even if that guy is not there, they're still equal. Because this, we could take off that remaining part. And then we have a 6 and a 6. They're the same. Promise. Every time. Okay. Here. 0 and a 0 in the 1s. Same. Move next door. 0 and a 4. Oop, there we go. We got something different. Our 4 is greater than the 0, so 4/10 is greater than 4/100. Last one. 0 and a 0. Same. 5 and 7. Oop, there we go. 5 and 7, which one's greater? The 7. How'd you do? Good? I hope so. Let's see. Let's do 2 more, and then I'm going to let you work on your practice stuff by yourself. All right, pause the video and try those 2. Got them? Okay. So largest place is the 1s, nothing there. They're the same, so we move over. We have a 5 and a 7. We know that 7 is bigger than 5, so 7/10 is greater than 5/10. Okay? 0 and a 0. That's the same, let's move over. 3 and 3. That's the same, let's move over. Uh-oh. We have an 8 and then a blank spot. But we know at the end afterwards, we talked about it on our last set, you can add a 0. Just on that side and just with decimals. That's the only time it works. If I have the number 2 sitting somewhere and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to add a 0, that turns it into 20. But with decimals, it's different. Okay? So we can add that. Now we have 38/100 and 30/100. 8 is greater than 0. So 38/100 is greater than 30/100. All right, rewatch this video if you need to, work on your practice problems, do the quizzes, and then move on to the next day if you're doing all your math in one day. Have a great day.